this semester, by the way, let me write what is the date? The 6th? The 6th. 2020. Okay. We are beginning this semester with statistics. Statistics is kind of a different strand of mathematics. Kind of like in science, you don't just go to science class, you can go to physics class or biology or chemistry. There's different types. Statistics would be a separate math class usually. But we're going to introduce you to a little bit of statistics. Where do you usually see statistics in life? Where have you heard about it? Baseball. Baseball is notorious for using statistics for everything. I mean, they do statistics for like what kind of deodorant the players wear, basically. They literally do statistics for everything. It is, but they probably know what brand of shoelaces they wear, seriously. They do statistics for everything. A lot of other ones will do statistics also. Basketball, you'll see like free throw statistics and three-pointer statistics. Try saying statistics 5 times fast. That's a fun one. Especially in a year like 2020 when we have something very important coming up in November, an election, you will see statistics all over the place. Okay? We are just going to touch on the tip of the iceberg with statistics, but I hope it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of where you could go when you're learning about statistics. When you are a junior or a senior, there are 2 statistics classes on campus that you could take for math credits. There is a prep level statistics class and an AP statistics class. Statistics, I think, is one of the ways that people get taken advantage of the most because they don't understand statistics. They take things for face value. If you think about, I'm sure all of us have seen a commercial about something, say toothpaste maybe, and it'll say something like, 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste. That's a statistic. Is it a legitimate statistic? Well, who are the 10 dentists they asked? Were they randomly chosen, or were they dentists that perhaps that toothpaste brand gave some free samples to so that they could pass them out to their clients? So they would be more likely to say that they recommend because they received something in exchange. Okay? Those are the types of ways that statistics can get really skewed. Okay? So you can't just believe every statistic you hear. You need to know more about the story. Now, you will see a headline like that, like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend. Okay? Why was everybody so sure that Hillary was going to be elected? Because statistics were thrown around, and I think that one of the biggest reasons why people were surprised was because people didn't understand the statistics. They believed what they heard and maybe didn't understand the full story, and that's why it was surprising. Now, that could not be the case, but it very well could be, and those are the kinds of things that you look into when you study statistics. Okay? You look at trends of data. Statistics is all about taking data and making it explain things, or how does it explain things. So, for example, if we wanted to know something about, let's say I wanted to know what's the favorite color of most of the people at Etiwanda High School, and I wanted to ask you guys that. Could I say, if, let's say, half of you said that your favorite color is red, could I say that 50% of Etiwanda High School has a favorite color of red?
Yeah.
Well, that depends on who you guys are, because you would be my group of people that I'm trying to use as what's called a sample. And then it brings up this discussion. Why are people on phones right now? Put it away, please. Not upside down on your desk, but away, please. if I want to know something that I can generalize to say about the entire population at Etiwanda High School, then the group that I talk to needs to be a representation of Etiwanda High School. If I talk to all of you guys, am I talking to like a miniature version of Etiwanda High School? Maybe not, because most of you are freshmen. You may have a different perspective than seniors, or than juniors, or than sophomores, or than freshmen. If I want to truly be able to take a group and say that they represent the whole group, I need to have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, males, females. I need to have a mix of everybody that would be represented in the school. Does that make sense? Okay. And that's what they try to do with things like the Electoral College and all that kind of stuff. And that's why people are all up in arms about that. But there's a ton of statistics that'll be coming out around the election that's kind of interesting. So we're going to start off with the first things that you learn in statistics, and that is the mean, median, mode, and the range. So once you have conducted a survey and you have your results, these are the kinds of things that you would calculate about that. Okay, so how do I find the mean of a set of numbers? What's the other word for mean? Average. How do I find the average or the mean of a group of numbers?
Adding them all up and then dividing them by the number that you added up.
Yep, 2 steps. Step 1 was add up all the numbers.
Divide.
Step 2, divide by how many numbers you added up in that first step. So, if I gave you a short little list here, 4, 5, 9, 7, 3. That's a short list of numbers there. Yeah? How would I find the mean of those numbers?
You add them all up and you divide them by 5.
Mm-hmm. I am sure that you have done this in one of your previous math classes. Okay? So I would add all them up and divide by what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you do not need to write this step. This step is pretty much a calculator step, right? Now, the way I remember the mean is it's the mean one to calculate because you have to go to your calculator. All the other ones you don't have to go to your calculator. So this one's mean because it's making you do more work. So 4 plus 5 plus 9 plus 7 plus 3. Can I just do divided by 5?
No.
Why not?
Because you divide the 3 by 5 instead of all the numbers.
Yes. My calculator will not add all the numbers and then divide. It will add all these numbers and then it will add 3 over 5 at the end. So I either need to put that whole first part in parentheses or I just do the addition part, hit enter, and then divide by 5. And my mean is 5.6. Totally reasonable to have a decimal as your mean because you're dividing. And when you're dividing, it's likely that you'll get a decimal sometimes. Okay? Any questions about finding a mean? Nope. All right, let's move on. Median. What's the median? It's the middle. In the next few years, you guys will start driving, right? If some of you are not already doing so. When you are driving down the road, there is a little thing that separates you from the traffic that's coming towards you. Oftentimes it's like a curb and sometimes it has trees or shrubs planted in it, whatever. What is that thing called? It's called the median. Why is it called the median? Because it's in the middle of the road. Okay? So the median of the road, that always reminds me I need the median or the middle of my set of data. Now, if I wrote down my numbers here, if I put my numbers in order, or if I put my numbers down like this, what would the median be if you look at that? It looks like it's 9, doesn't it? But what if I wrote the numbers in a different order? What if I wrote the numbers like 4, 7, 9, nope, 3, 5, 9. That's the same data set, but this one it's 3 in the middle, isn't it? So how do we make sure that we get the actual median and that it's not just dependent on what order I write the numbers
Put it
in?
in order from least to greatest.
Yep. Must put the numbers in order. So, if I use that same list here, what would the smallest number be? 3. And then 4, 5, 7, 9. What is the median?
5.
It is 5 because 5 is the one smack dab in the middle. What if I added another number to my list?
Okay.
Now what number is in the middle?
Well, you have to add 5 and 7 and divide by 2.
I have 2 numbers in the middle, right? Neither of them is the median.
Yes.
In this case, neither of them is the median. The median, I can get it either one of 2 ways. One way is I could find the mean of those 2 numbers, meaning adding them together and dividing by 2 because it's 2 numbers. Or I could find whatever number is exactly halfway between those 2 numbers. Both will give me the same answer. So I can see that halfway between 5 and 7 is going to be 6. If I did it by finding the mean, because maybe it's not easy all the time to see that, I take 2 numbers, divide them by 2. 5 plus 7 is 12 divided by 2. That also gets me a median of 6. So these are your only 2 circumstances. Either you'll have a median that's easy to pick out, or you'll have 2 numbers and you need to find what's halfway between, or find the mean of those 2 numbers. Does that make sense? Okay. Ready for mode? What is mode? I think of the mode as being the most popular. The mode is the most popular.
Oh,
I'm sorry?
the biggest number?
It's not always the biggest number.
The most
It's
repetitive.
the number that occurs the most. So for example, I'm going to write most popular here. So if I gave you a list here, if I went back to our list that we've been using, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, what's the mode here? Is anything the most popular? They're all the same popularity, right?
Yes.
So this one we would say has no mode. Nobody's more popular than anybody else. What if I changed my list a little bit and I said 3, 7, 4, 5, 7, 9, 7? What's the mode? Clearly it's 7 because that one is occurring 3 times. It's the most popular number on my list. What if I threw in something like this? 3, 3, 7, 4, 5, 7, 9?
3 and 7 are low.
Is it no mode?
No, it's 3 and 7.
There are 2 modes in this situation. 3 and 7 are both modes because both of them are more popular than the others. How do I know it's not no mode?
Because there's no.
If there's something less popular, there's not a no mode. No mode is everybody's exactly the same. This one I have 2 groups of numbers that occur more than the others. You could have 3 modes, you could have 4 modes, but if each number occurred twice, I would have no mode because they would all be the equal amount of popularity. Does that make sense? Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about, well, second to last thing, range. How do you find the range of something? Biggest number minus the smallest number. Why is that important to know?
Because,
It gives you the order to set it up, I guess.
Tells you a little bit about how spread out your data is. If I have a range of 2, that means all of my answers are within 2 numbers of it. Like from the lowest to the highest, it's 2 numbers. If my range is 100, there's a lot more spread out data, right? Because it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a lot more options for the data. It's not as tight. So if I were to find, if I go back to our original list, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, it should be really easy to pick out biggest minus smallest because you already have it in order from finding the median, right? So to find the range, I would do 9 minus 3, and the range here is 6. Okay, so. All right, now let me talk to you about something. I'm not quite done with the notes, so give me a second here. But this is what your homework's going to look like. I'll pass it out in just a minute. So you have lists of data, lists of numbers. I'm finding that they write it backwards. Mode, median, and mean. I'm so used to saying mean, median, mode. Backwards to me. But I also want you to find the range for each of these sets of data. Now this is a little bit longer of a list, but you can still find mean, median, mode, and range pretty easily, right? So there's your data here. Both of these are the same. It's like one list just cut in half. Like they didn't want to make it super long, so they cut it in half. So use all of those numbers to find the mean, median, mode, range. Okay, same with those guys. This one, you're going to use all of those ages. It's not 3 separate problems. It's one problem. Those are all the pieces of data. Then on the back, you get to these things. What are these things called?
Graph. Oh, like
dot plot.
Dot plot. So let me talk to you for a minute about a dot plot. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about. So a dot plot is simply a way of showing a list of numbers. Okay? Now, from the dot plot, you should be able to pick out the mode easiest. The mode is the most popular. What number has the biggest? 2 would be my mode. I can see that right off the bat. Because this represents the list of numbers 0 through 4. 0 occurs on that list 2 times. 1 would occur on my list how many times?
3 times.
3. 2 occurs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's hard to write 2s when you're saying other numbers. 3 is going to occur 3 times. And 4 is going to occur twice. So I can get my list of numbers from that. I don't need this, though, to find the range, do I? When I just do 4 minus 0, my range is 4. My mode is right there, because that's the one that's the most. And I'm thinking that my median is going to be in here somewhere also, but now that I have it all listed out, I can figure out what my median is. And I can add them all up and divide by, what would I divide by? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so this is just a different way of representing these. We'll talk about them again on Wednesday also. But you should be able to go from here to here to get your information. Okay, so tonight's just practicing mean, median, mode, range. Okay, all right, let's get your homework passed out. Happy studying.
Okay.